Welcome everybody to the Majority Cast. I'm joined by a very special guest, one of the finest. Introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Spencer. I'm with the Itch Network, and this is going to be a great show.
It already is. Spencer, you're my man. Talk to me. What's I don't know, one of the first memories you have of like an interaction between us, or like a video of mine, or something like that?
I can't remember. Was it you that messaged put a comment on one of my videos, or did I put a comment on one of yours? I do not remember.
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the first comment I remember from you was on the Dragon Quest Swords video. And that
Mm.
may or may not have been the first one. You gave me some constructive feedback there. You may have commented on something before that, but I think we both kind of like linked up through Boss and Burf or something.
Was it through? Remember the funny nerd? Was it through him?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, back then that community was so thriving. Um, yeah, I was one of those guys. One of those guys. Yeah, I still talk to Leo
Hmm. I actually met up
quite a
with
bit.
him, and we
Wow.
got lunch together
Oh,
in Long Island City.
how is he, man?
Yeah, he's super cool. Very professional. Like, when we met up for lunch. I don't want to say too much about, you know, the guy. I don't know like what's
Yeah,
comfortable
no,
saying or not saying, but yeah, no, like he was
no, he's always been really, really cool.
yeah, he's super cool, down to earth. We had a really great conversation, and yeah, it was a good time. I'd do it again. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it was worth it.
It's so worth it.
to quote to quote Alex, I'm gonna steal that. I love that you guys keep doing that.
Oh, well, that joke's long running. I mean, you know,
Um,
in just in the community of YouTube in general. I think maybe that could even be a topic today about community, but we'll figure it out as we go.
yeah, that would be an interesting one. There's a lot of weird things this community does. I think we've spoken about it before, but
Yeah, community.
it's a strange one.
Is it or is it not? Is it worth it? Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what games are you playing right now?
Well, we had a game that we both played together in preparation for a map out on the Button Mappers, and I got to plug myself on my own channel, but the Button Mappers, up and coming podcasters on the rise. Spencer's even been featured there, and
Yeah.
I take a lot of pride in that channel. I think it's probably one of the best endeavors I've pursued on YouTube. So I highly suggest to the listeners out there, you go check out the Button Mappers. I'll have links in the description. But the game in question is ukulele. And I don't want to like say too much because we're going to have a whole map out about it tomorrow,
Yeah.
but I do want to say that game is special to me because first off, it's a 3D platformer and I'm a big Banjo fan, but I remember when it first got announced that it almost sold me on the idea of getting a modern console. I wanted to get one just to play this game because I guess
Mm.
that genre had just been so forsaken in previous years.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing. That's how I've been feeling about it. Do you want to share any feelings of ukulele preemptively?
It, and we'll go over this more in the map out, which you should definitely check out. But I had not played Banjo Kazooie, so my take on it is very, very fresh. Sculpted not by somebody who likes 3D platformers. I mean, I don't hate them. I liked Mario 64. I played Mario Odyssey and I liked it. I thought it was a little bit overrated, but um, I thought it was a good game.
Mm.
Especially if you like Banjo Kazooie. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I assume it'll be fun when we do it because you guys will be able to point to me and tell me, oh yeah, that was from Banjo Kazooie and that was like a Banjo Kazooie thing, and I'm just gonna have no idea because I have some design questions about it, but I'm sure you guys will just say, oh, that was in the original, so
Okay. I don't want to say.
that'll make sense.
I don't want to say anything here then.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like answering quiz questions.
That was in the original.
I knew it. Uh,
Other than
I've
that, though, I mean, I've been in this gradual phase of selling games and just making money back. I'm in, that eternal cycle of paying off loans for whatever it is, student loans, car loans, paying for an apartment, etc. So I try to balance out the new games that I get with other games on my shelf that I sell. I have a decent bit, no matter like how many times I put these things on eBay, I have like the same number.
oh, okay.
How do you
You
deal with
just,
your game collection?
um, I just keep them all. I'm scared to sell them. I don't know why. There should be no reason I should be, but I just like to keep them all. But I will say that I was going to get the Outer Worlds, and I realized that buying now that I don't like, I'm not as obsessed with reviewing games like as I used to be. Where I was like, you have to get them the day they come out, and then try to beat them as fast as you can. I've given up on that. Who cares? I'm realizing, and I realized this month, and actually at the end of October, like, why the hell am I going to go spend like $60 on a game when on Black Friday it's going to be $30? So I pretty much pushed all that stuff aside for November for Black Friday. I was going to get the Outer Worlds. I just said screw it. Like, I couldn't find it in store, and I wanted to get a physical because I wanted to let JD borrow it after I was done. And yeah, I just couldn't find one. And I'm just like, well, screw it. Like, Black Friday's around the corner. I'm just going to get it then. The only game that doesn't apply to is Pokemon coming out next week. So I'm going to get that.
Yeah, I'm hyped on that for sure.
Which one are you getting? I'm getting... Oh, shoot. I think I'm getting Shield.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be a little hush-hush about it because my girlfriend's in the other room, but I'm planning on getting both.
Whoa! You guys going to swap? Is she into it?
Yeah, she's excited for it, so...
Excellent, dude. That's great.
Yeah. It's the first time in my life I've like had that ability to really enjoy like that co-op gaming in so long. I think the last time was like when I was 5 years old and my cousins would come over and play the Mario parties or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty special.
You know what game it seems like universally everybody loves is Mario Kart.
I don't know about everyone. A lot of like
you don't
non-gamers, I feel like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean is like you could almost pull anybody and be like, "Hey, you want to play a game of Mario Kart?" and they'll be like, "Hell yeah." Like, that's almost universal from what I've seen. I can't think of another game where everyone's just down to play.
Yeah, it's not Smash. People are probably more content to play Mario Kart over Smash, I would say.
Smash is intimidating. I'm like, I have that game and I don't want to play it. I'm like, there's so much to it now.
It is intimidating. It's overwhelming to an extent. I'm not excited about the new one. I haven't bought it. I really like playing Melee. Melee's fun. It's simple. I like playing the 64 one.
Oh my, I love the 64 one. You know what makes that game special? Is you can get knocked off and not like die, but not be able to get back.
You can get knocked off, not be able to die, and not get back.
Like you know how like nowadays everybody's jumps and B ups or whatever, they can get knocked off, but they can always come back. Or it's either they get knocked off and they fly off and explode on the side, or they just get back. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the 64, it was possible to like fly off and then have like just try desperately to get back up but not be able to make it. Mm-hmm. That game is just so simplified on the whole formula, and I love it. I just think it's so trimmed down. It feels, I can't imagine people nowadays enjoying it, but I certainly love that game.
The only thing I found a little hard going back to is the controller, which I never thought I'd say. I've never had a problem with the controller where people, constantly bicker about it.
Yeah.
But I did find recently in trying to do it that the thumbstick was a little harsh on my hands. Maybe my hands are sensitive or something. So,
I don't know. People, I kind of get why people bitch about the controller. I get it's got the 3 prongs and you only have 2 hands.
Just tilt the thing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Just tilt it so that the control stick matches with the A and B button. It's not that hard, people.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem is. I think it's just more options on a controller. And the game designer gets to pick which one they want to use.
Which
Makes sense to me.
most of them pick the control stick. So
Yeah. I think it's great.
I love the 64. That's a console I couldn't get rid of if I tried.
Dude, oh, I wish I had a 64.
What do you
So I
just
could have.
emulate them?
I could emulate them, although that's a little rough.
Mm.
Um, no, I don't really play 64 games anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Smash would be the one I would play. That's the last game I played on the 64.
You haven't played the Zeldas over.
Not in a long time. I played Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask I played on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I never played it on the 64.
You're missing out a little bit. But then again, I'm a stickler, so
The 3DS version is worse?
they dumbed it down, and there's
Oh.
certain things that are more fun in the original game, like floating around as the Zora Link. It doesn't use magic power to zoom, otherwise you just swim awkwardly. The Deku Shrub kind of runs a little better, and the bosses in the 3DS version. I mean, like, how do you remember them?
Barely.
You don't
I don't
remember them.
remember.
They're generic.
Uh,
What they do is they make them have like these weak points. So like, a giant eye is exposed and then you attack the eye, and they just do the same thing for all of the bosses. Whereas
oh,
in the
okay.
original game it was just more about taking on these huge mammoth things. And they were the same like design wise, but they altered it in a way that wasn't necessarily preferred.
Gotcha. Well, that's a shame. I thought it was more of a close port.
Mm. There's a
Like I thought they had
video
a
I could
yeah.
recommend. It was promoted all over YouTube for like a good month or so. It's got by
Hmm.
a guy named Neryl, and he like very closely compares and contrasts the original to the new one.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'd be worth watching. I thought it was good. I don't know, and maybe this is because I played the wrong version. Now I'm thinking about it, but I don't know that I put that above Ocarina of Time though.
It's hard. It's a hard one to put over it. The main complaint is always the time system.
The time,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just that nothing changed, or everything goes back to the way it is, which as a narrative element is very
great.
cool. Like that's super cool. That's that plays with time travel in a non-conventional way. And I think
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard you say that like time travel's done to death and back.
It's done a lot, and it's done really poorly
Yeah,
in a
and
lot of
that's
games.
not a game that I would say does time travel poorly.
No, it does. That's one of the best time travel games ever. Of course, my favorite's always going to be Chrono Trigger,
Hmm.
but I would argue that Majora's Mask probably does it better than Chrono Trigger. I just like Chrono Trigger a lot. So,
Why do you think Chrono Trigger does time travel at an equal level, if not better?
oh no, I would argue that Majora's Mask does it better.
Right.
Time travel. I just like Chrono Trigger more because I like that as a game.
Chrono Trigger's like there's like five eras that you go through, and they're all not like necessarily like 1,000 years apart. One might be like 100 years ago, the other might be like in the BC era, and the other one's like an apocalyptic future.
Yeah,
What about that one special to you?
it's like my favorite game ever. um, I I love the characters in that game, and I like that there's parallels between all the different times. I don't think they interplay that much. Like there's not a whole lot of do this in one time frame and then later on this happens. There's a little bit of it, but not a lot. But I just love the distinction between each time period that they're so different, and they all have like the theme of uh, the theme of consequence, where you're just like, what happened in this time frame to make it this way because it wasn't this way before, and then you kind of unravel that story, and then you go, okay, excellent, and then you go back to 65 million BC. It's like, okay, so this is where it all started. How did it happen? And then you get to see that. I love that, like how far apart they are, and yet how connected they are. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's just really cool.
Mm. It almost has like Back to the Future esque elements.
Yeah, Yeah, because it plays with it. It's fun. It's more of a fun time travel,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, fun would be the word, I think. I don't know. On my first playthrough of it, I thought it was a good game, but I wasn't won over by it. Do you think I'm like missing something?
No, I think gaming is a technology, and if you're not in on the technology, I think it's likely it'll pass you by. Um, I think we talked about it before, but like Atari games, people can tell me that they love Atari games all the, like to the moon and back, and just be like, this Atari game was like the best Atari game ever, and I'll never like it. I'll respect it. Like, what is it? Asteroids. I'm sure there's a game called Asteroids. Space Invaders or something like that. It's like, I understand that it's great. I understand Pong is great. I understand these games are great. I just, that will not appeal to me. And it is what it is, you know? So when kids talk to me about games, they're into Fortnite and stuff. I try not to crap on it. It's like, okay, it's what you like, cool. It's not necessarily what I like, and if I recommended a game to you, you probably wouldn't like that game. So we just kind of, I think generations will have different opinions on these things, and if you weren't part of the Chrono Trigger thing when it came out, it'd be hard to go back and appreciate it. The biggest one for that is Earthbound, though. I think. I think Earthbound has some of the mechanics in that are so antiquated that I can't even recommend it to half the people I talk to about it.
Yeah. I tried it, and I tried Undertale as well, and both of them were just like, I don't know. At least with Chrono Trigger, I played through it, and I got through it, and I found it very playable. Those games, I'm just a little unsure about what it is I want to be doing.
Okay, yeah.
Do I want to attack creatures, or do I want to be a pacifist and take damage? I don't fully understand. So it's like I need a guide or something like that, or someone to just inform me about like a good direction to take in one of those games.
With Earthbound, you're definitely you can't be a pacifist in that game. That's like Dragon Quest. It's like Dragon Quest 2 or 3 gameplay on like a Super Nintendo game, and yeah, I don't know. I totally understand when people say they can't get through it. It's got like a really bad inventory system. The mechanics are so bad in that game that you have to fight with those to get the actual experience of the game, which is sublime. It's the actual, if you could bottle the experience without having to go through the mechanics, that would probably be the best way to somehow play that game. Undertale, I could probably give you some tips on how to do it, but I would say just play it like you would play any RPG, and then you'll understand why you should then play it the other ways that you mentioned.
Okay.
Just kill everything.
Yeah.
Then you'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then it'll be like, if you want to play it again, then you can. If you don't, whatever.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. It's good. It's quick. It's like 5 hours, 6 hours.
Okay. Not bad. Yeah, if I'm bored one day.
What is your favorite Dragon Quest? Since we're kind of on the topic of RPGs.
Does it have to be one that I've finished?
No. Hell no. There's so many, and they're so long.
I actually had a Dragon Quest related question for you too. I'll ask it after.
Okay.
Gosh, I want to say 5, but I have to finish it.
Everyone says 5,
but it's 4. Because I was so affected by 4 when I first played it, and then I played 5, and I was like, wow, like they can tell a story. So
I don't know, man.
Is it 8 for you?
5 that
you like 8?
I like 11.
You like 11 more than 8?
I think so.
Really?
There's one advantage to 8.
Okay.
It's one advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that 8 feels like an open world. 11 does not. 11 feels like a bunch of segments, because it is a bunch of segments placed together like instant segments. That is the only disadvantage I can think of for 11.
11 definitely feels modern.
Oh, it's
which
so
is amazing
good.
in and of itself.
Right, it's such an achievement. It grabs what you would want from a modern RPG, but keeps it in line with what you want from classic Dragon Quest, like classic RPG stuff, and somehow keeps it going in this incredibly long, absurdly long game. That's just great.
How would you have felt 5 years ago if you were told that we would get ports for Dragon Quest 7, 8 on the 3DS, and Dragon Quest 11 on PS4 and Nintendo Switch?
I'd say you're crazy. I'd say you could not put specifically 8. 7 I don't know a whole lot about, but with 8 I would say there's no way you could put that on a handheld.
Jeez, man. 3DS at that. That's a little powerhouse.
It's the best console ever, I think. The 3DS, you can play Nintendo DS games and the amazing 3DS library. Like, especially for an RPG guy, I don't know if there's enough hours in a lifetime to finish the RPGs that are on that console.
Or to even fully enjoy them. Man, I mean, I played Chrono Trigger on there. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, you could play Chrono Trigger on the 3DS. If you had that in a PlayStation Vita, which I do, then, I mean, that's an RPG powerhouse combo right there. Like, you'll never stop playing RPGs. Yeah.
I do love that 3DS, and it's just something, even after, being a Switch convert, I guess,
Yeah.
I really, have trouble thinking about a time or place where my 3DS would not be applicable. Be at home or on the go, at work, in between classes or whatever. The 3DS is golden.
Do you think Nintendo's done with portables in the sense of the 3DS? And the Switch is the all be all end all console? For now, at least.
For a couple of years, yeah. I think it's really hard to map out Nintendo's future. I just don't know. I don't know what is going to happen to gaming. I think other companies will probably come in and try and capitalize on this handheld market, or they should, if they don't.
What companies?
Well, have you been to Target or Walmart lately?
Yeah.
So there's all these handhelds that emulate a lot of these older games. I think anyone could do it. So in a future video that's going to be posted with Alex and I, he's talking about Neo Geo. These guys have ported 94 games to the Nintendo Switch.
94 games.
Why can't they could just release their own handheld with their whole library. And I think it's stupid. I'm thinking back to our Sega Genesis Mini video. I really think it's stupid that, these companies, whether it be Nintendo or Sega or whatever, just leak out a couple games for their mini consoles and say have a ball. But they got whole libraries. And we're in an era where for 15 years, people have been successfully emulating games, old, new, etc.
Yeah.
So I just don't see the logic of not giving us, a faithful service to play a lot of these older games.
How easy would it be from a DLC standpoint too? Just give us a box that has basically an emulator running on it, and you can download ROMs, and they just charge $5 or $3 or whatever. I don't want to give them that idea because I want them to put it all in one package, but just being realistic here, that would still be a great option. Have a box and you just you want to download Final Fantasy VI? Sure. There you go. Why isn't that a thing? That's crazy.
I bet you it's probably licensing things, But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Well, no, but you're right when you say like there's a company Neo Geo has 92 ROMs on the Switch. Like, why not just release them somewhere if there's a market for it?
They own the thing.
Release them yourself.
You know, they own
Yeah.
all of those IPs. There's no reason for them not to take full advantage of it. They're probably already taking a pay cut by putting it on the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't get
I kind of
that.
want to talk about the Switch library digitally too, with you. The first one,
Okay.
I do want to return to that Dragon Quest question. Have you seen the three Dragon Quests that they put out on the Switch library?
It's 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, but they put the phone ports. How do you feel about that?
Oh.
Have you seen it? Like you've seen the artwork style?
Not real. I've seen the Dragon Quest 1 because I have that on the phone.
Yeah, I do too.
My
I'm
my
a sucker.
my opinion is gonna be bad because I played 1, 2, and 3, but I played the Game Boy Color versions. So I never actually played the NES games. So even from a purist standpoint, I'm not pure, and I don't want to play the NES versions. They look terrible. It's another one of those things about age, man. NES RPG, like NES, like a platformer can be fun, but like an NES RPG looks like almost like you'd rather just play a pen and paper RPG. They look so cumbersome. But I played them on the Game Boy Color. I played ROMs of them, and I enjoyed them for that. So I will say on the new one, the phone version, I don't know if they're really better or worse. I'm assuming from what I could gather that it looks a little bit incongruent, if that's a word. Like the style of
English
text
teacher.
versus the actual, like what you're seeing on screen looks very weird. But they do that. That's the same with the Chrono Trigger ports, Final Fantasy ports, all that stuff. I don't know why they do that to the text, but it looks awful. That's the only thing. Is a lot of the text just looks really bad. That's one thing I know from those.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's
That's
like
upsetting.
watercolor, And you mentioned the Game Boy Color ports. I was wondering where you stood on those as well. I played the Game Boy Color ports. Those were my primary ways of playing the Dragon Quest games, and I think
Mm-hmm.
they look good for what they are because they have that same kind of Pokemon art style. And
Yeah.
those Pokemon games on the Game Boy don't look bad. They look all right. I mean, granted, some of the monsters look like doo doo, but you know, it's playable otherwise.
You know what's so crazy is when I was young, we were pretty poor, and me and my brother had to save up money so we could buy a Game Boy Pocket and then Pokemon. I think we got Pokemon Blue. And we saved up all our money, we got this, and then all of a sudden we had a console, like a handheld console. And my brother one day brought home Dragon Quest 1 and 2, that pack. And he was like, I got these games that want to play. I'm like, I'm sure he had no idea what he was doing. And we played them for a little bit. We couldn't figure out how to get past Dragon Quest 1. It was bizarre. It wasn't like Pokemon where it was pretty streamlined and carefully told you what to do. Um, who would think that like a almost 2 decades later, I would be replaying those two games instead of Pokemon and like obsessing over that entire franchise. It's so random to me. And I told my brother that. I was like, because he doesn't play games, and I'm just like, you remember like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on the Game Boy, like from forever ago? And it's like, yeah, I just beat them. And they're pretty good. It's so weird, but that's just the weirdness of history for you.
Yeah, it really is that those games' legacy has stood a little stronger than Pokemon, or at least aged better.
Yeah,
I find with like Pokemon, it's almost like they're trying to do too much.
I totally agree.
I get overwhelmed by Pokemon natures and stats and new types being added, and then now there's forms, and then there's Mega Evolutions, and now there's Gigamax or whatever. I just don't
Yeah,
care.
Gigamax.
You gotta.
Yeah. Do you remember when I played one recently. I think it might have been X or Y or something. And I went to the first boss, and I think it was like a or a bug gym. I think I could be wrong on that, but I went to the gym, and so I got the right Pokemon for it. I'm like, okay, I think my fire will be pretty good here. I think I have a bird Pokemon. And I went to the gym, and I just kind of like, I didn't get stomped, but it was like not a super effective every time. And I just got so confused because there's like every Pokemon has two different types or something. And like, it's not as clear cut what the advantages are. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad, but as an old standby, it's very confusing. I'm very lost.
Mm-hmm. It's frequent now that you have two type Pokemons, and I've never heard of a three type or anything, but um, yeah, I guess it really requires you to care. You have to be invested, and
Yeah.
if you're not, then it's really at your detriment. I could see that being a turnoff for people to come into the series, but it
Yeah.
seems like kids like it either way. So I'm not really sure I can really, give a firm
Really knock
standby,
it.
but I think as an older gamer now, I kind of care a little bit less.
Same. Yeah. I'm a little bit worried to pick up the new Pokemon just because of that reason. But I'm really trying to go in with that positive, like, I'll just love it. It's the Pokemon world, and I'll just immerse myself in it, and hopefully it grabs me.
Yeah. Hope so too.
Because I'm paying for it.
I did have another question about the Switch service, but I don't think it might be the best question for you. It's just I was going on recently, and oh, by the way, if you set up a Japanese account, you can actually get Dragon Quest Monsters, the old one, I think.
The Game Boy Color one?
Yeah,
Now you love that game.
so
Let
much.
me ask you a question.
So much. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it worth it?
God damn right, it's worth it.
You don't pay in yen though, right?
Yes, you do. So it's 1,500 if you get the Switch Online card, which I have to test it out right now. We have a copy right now. Actually, I think it's 1,600. So we have the 1,500 yen card. I can't even buy the thing, but if
Wow.
it's basically like divide by 100, so it's like $16, and then you may pay a tax as well.
Gotcha.
But goddamn right, I love that game, man. I played it twice in my life, and the
Maybe-
outcomes are always a little different because you breed the monsters, and you don't exactly know what they're gonna breed into unless you really know the mechanics of that game. I have no idea how you can tell. If you breed a slime and an anteater, you get a Draki, or I don't know, but there's some really cool ways to play around with it, and I cannot recommend that game enough. We have the one for the Japanese 3DS. I got my girlfriend a Japanese 3DS about a year ago. I really need to suck it up and play it, even though I don't fully understand everything. But I think I would like to play the Game Boy Color one first.
Are you saying that you got Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 3?
No, I don't have that one. I have Terry's Wonderland, the 3D make, the 3DS make.
Oh, right. Have you played the Monsters Joker series?
I tried the first one. I got pretty far. I actually kind of enjoyed it, but character's a little too edgy for me, and
Yeah, he's very edgy.
and I got
I
stuck
really
somewhere in
like
like a
it.
tower or something. But go ahead.
I like it. I just wish they would keep coming with it because I know there's a 3, but it's in Japan only.
Did you play the second one?
Yeah, a little bit. I liked it. I got caught up in other games and never finished it.
The third one, you can like ride monsters or something.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Like-
you could do that in Dragon Quest 11 too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So.
And
That makes
Builders
sense.
too.
Oh yeah, Builders too. I should play that more. I actually liked it. I just stopped because I was doing other things. That was fun.
I stopped the first one. I got bored.
Yeah, I played the first one a little bit too, and I think I got stuck on the second mission, the second like world to build.
I just saw that you had to restart the whole chapter, like everything that you built, and I was like, oh no, I'm not doing all this again.
I like the idea of building your own Dragon Quest town. I'm a sucker for architecture, but a lot of the stuff that goes into it, like the Minecraft stuff, going at, like from that perspective, don't I don't like crafting very much, and I don't like hacking away at trees so I can get 8 pieces of lumber or whatever. That stuff never really appealed to me, but I certainly the aesthetic right there brought me into it. So you can put Dragon Quest on anything, and I'll probably get into it to some extent.
Yeah. How about Heroes? Did you like that?
I did. It's just a stupid hack and slash. That's one of the first games that we talked about, or that didn't you comment on me playing that one time or something? The first one? I remember that from forever ago. I think you might have watched me do a live stream of it, like the first night.
Sounds familiar.
That was from way back when.
Mm. Back in the nostalgic days of YouTube. Were they really that nostalgic, though?
I always call it, they're my good old days back then, but I feel like when I was doing that, people were telling me that YouTube was dead then. So, I don't know. I guess not. They probably weren't that great. I bet you the greatest was around when YouTube started. That was probably when it was best.
Yeah, but that's just because that's what people say. I disagree with that. I had a YouTube channel in 2007, and I got like cyberbullied, and I was like, a teenager. So I was like, screw this. I'm not gonna stay on YouTube. So that's not my best days,
You got cyberbullied in 2007?
Yeah, I was posting like stupid lip sync videos with my best friend, and somebody left a comment like "gay," and I was like, "Okay."
You're like, I'm out of here.
Peace.
It's like, no, I'm not.
With this. Yeah, right. You're
awesome.
mean.
Yeah. Nowadays they get like flamed or their account banned or something for saying that.
Yeah, probably. You can like ban those words in your chat.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, censorship.
Can't call people gay anymore. Not like the good old days.
What? I'm just happy. Nah.
Didn't you want to ask me about the Switch online, or the Switch's catalog or something? Is that what you're going to ask me?
It's not a good question. I feel like the market's so flooded with trash on there.
Yeah. There was an interesting marketing ploy that companies will do to get to that to sell more copies of their game. They'll put their game on like a ridiculous discount because the Nintendo discount thing, I guess, and I don't quote me on this, but that's what the article was saying. The Nintendo discount thing will put the most discounted games at the top, or at least give them some sort of priority for searching. And so a game was selling like 10 a month, and then they just put their game on discount by like 70%, and then they got like thousands of sales per month.
Well, it doesn't prioritize at the top of the list the cheapest, but what it does is the most downloaded games, as far as I'm seeing, are going to the top of the list. So right now, if you go on the games on sale section of Nintendo Switch, they're the following prices: a penny,
right,
4 pennies, $1, 19 cents, and so on.
So I guess they're just spurring people to pay like not a lot of money to get a lot of sales to then push it to the top.
And then once the discount's over, people will be like, "Oh yeah, that game was popular, so maybe I should try it." But I think people are going to start to see through that, though. I don't think that's going to work so well for them in the long run.
Yeah, I agree. Because theoretically, they're just gonna, if reviews work the way they should, then people will see the game and then also see that it has like 1 star.
But they don't have reviews.
Oh, they don't have it on the Switch eShop?
No, they don't have star ratings.
Oh. Nintendo should change that.
If you go to the Japanese eShop, more than half of those games don't exist.
Really?
So like those backyard computer games that they've been porting or whatever, or like a lot of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
like stupid, semi indie games. I don't know what you call them, like you know, budget games, I guess, like hyper
That's
budget
calling it.
games.
That's calling it super nicely.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
trash. A lot of these so-called games are not there. So I think they have quality control in the Japanese eShop. I don't.
Japan,
Yeah.
they definitely have quality control.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Switch eShop. I get that people are impressed by all the third party and all the RPGs they have, but I don't know if it's really that original of a market. I think it's a lot of like leftovers, and I like that it seems to be some kind of focus on RPGs there, which is cool because for me, I love RPGs, but I want them to have more of their own RPGs, not just everybody else's RPGs.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll come with time.
Yeah. Story in the making.
Yeah. Well, Pokemon will be original.
That's true.
That's something. That's a good starting point.
I'm tempted
What
to just get Dragon Quest XI instead.
it is way better, I guarantee it. And I have not played Pokemon obviously because it's not out, but I guarantee Dragon Quest XI is better.
I finished the demo. Like that, it was wonderful.
Yeah, that game has emotions in it. I don't know how many Dragon Quests have had emotions in it, but that game certainly.
Every single one that I've played has had emotion, except for like the first three, I think. But
Really, I don't know that any of them have hit me really hard. And I agree with you, by the way. Well, I don't know if I agree with you, but I think 4 is my favorite of that 4, 5, 6 trilogy, whatever you want to call it.
the Zenithian,
Zenithian trilogy.
they have no connection whatsoever, though.
Do you know what their connection is supposed to be?
The sword or something.
The tower and or the castle or kingdom in the sky.
Oh, makes sense. And
Yeah.
Yggdrasil, because that thing's in every game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. 11 has. I don't want to spoil it. You have to.
I mean,
You
I
have
got to a part where it was like in the demo, and I guess I'll give a little spoiler warning here. The guy finds out that his town burned down or something, and then like, but he goes back into it. And it's like almost like he's seeing everyone that he saw in the town. I'm not really remembering it very well, but that was a hard hitting moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
11
I get it.
has some really hard hitting stuff later. But I wanted to say, and I know how I'm going to word it. It has a connection to classic Dragon Quest in it, which, as a fan, I think you'll catch it, which is really, really, really cool. But you really have to play the whole game, and the whole game is very long, 120 hours.
I mean, I've done
That's
it. 7, I put in 100, so
You put in 100 hours on that one?
or
I
it was
think
90. You helped me.
Oh yeah, I think I get like you were stuck on a part.
It was like the pyramid or something, and I just had
Yeah.
no idea what I was doing.
That game is pretty cryptic at times. I think I had to look up a guide for one little part. There's one part in it where I was absolutely stuck, and the solution was really dumb. But that happens in Dragon Quest sometimes, doesn't it?
Happened in ukulele too.
Did it?
And
I didn't have to look
I was
up a guide
playing.
for it.
You don't have to, but like if you're going for a completion, like
Oh, okay.
there's one thing like there's one part of like Moody Marsh Maze, and I was like almost at all of the pages, and I looked up a guide. So
Is that do you 100% a game like ukulele?
yeah, Banjo Kazooie, 100%ed. Banjo Tooie, 100%ed. The first time I played ukulele, I just went to finish it because I was just sitting on it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I don't know. I'll think about it.
I beat it with exactly 100 pages.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that much more the first time. So
But in those marshes or the swamp, whatever it is, you'll have to refresh me on the names when we do the thing. I'll probably look it up just so I can get a refresher. But I did not know how to lower the water in that little like lake or whatever. I know you have to lower the water, or at least I assume that's what you have to do to get like the DNA spinny guy and then to use on the. I have no idea how to do it, and I know there's like at least 2 or something things in there I could have gotten, but I didn't get them.
I think it's like talk to the cart or something. The shopping
The cart.
There's a shopping cart. Yeah.
I'm sure it was probably a stupid solution. I spent like an hour trying to figure it out. Gave up. Spoiler alert.
You don't like
that casino can go to hell. That's all I'm gonna say on that game.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
Yeah.
They're fired. if I'm the CEO of that company, if I'm the B, I'm firing that casino guy.
Capital. It's real capital. The first time I played that damn casino level, I glitched through a wall and I got coins I wasn't supposed to, and it broke the entire rest of the stage for me.
Really?
I could still play through sections of it, but it was bizarre. It was like I was floating through walls and stuff, and like it was like I felt very unsettled and unpleasant playing through it.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather just a streamlined experience or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like, oh shit, this is a Kickstarter game.
I would have been praying for that. Going through that casino level, that's the only one that I'll have truly negative things to say about. I got a couple of nitpicks, but that's the one that we'll spend some quality time, I'm sure, discussing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be a fun map out.
I'm excited. I've never done one. I get to actually map something out with you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys have other games planned, or you just seat your pants on that one?
I have tentative ones. We actually do have one that we know we're gonna do together for sure. We may tell you tomorrow, just because we're live right now. I don't want to say anything.
Sure.
But we have been trying to pick games that people can kind of like jump on board with. We're not like picking obscure things,
Mm-hmm.
So far it's been like, Mario Odyssey, which did surprisingly well. I mean, Sonic 1, 2, we'll probably do Sonic 3. I don't think I can play Sonic CD, so we'll see about that. We did Banjo-Kazooie. That was our first one. Yeah, I was kind of surprised it was the first one, but I think it went pretty well for what it was.
Why are you surprised? You think you would have gone with something more mainstream current or something?
Maybe, because that's where everything went after that, was more mainstream. And I like Banjo. I never finished the first one. I kind of challenged myself to do it, and then we didn't exactly know that we were doing, like, what we were doing was going to be called a map out. So like,
it's a very unique concept.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love that it's our like signature thing. But like when we were doing the video, we were just like, all right, let's just like talk about every level in the game. So if you listen back in the video, we're talking like, we're gonna map this game, we're gonna look at the levels, we're gonna, and then I think after the video was done, we're like, yeah, that's a map out.
That's a map out. I love it.
So
so you didn't even have the graphics for it until you decided that it was literally a map out, and then you made a map for it.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, Alex does all the map visuals. So like when he does like the putting together like all the images for the levels, like he just makes them, and then like I'll edit them in. He actually edited the Mario Odyssey video. But like I really enjoy putting those together and seeing the end result. Like that Sonic 2 video, I was really happy with how that one turned out. And you got some surprise features in there too.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that's the one that I haven't actually seen. I only heard it because I was driving to work.
those are. I think he did a really good job with the artwork there. But all like the sound editing and everything there is mine too. So, I really liked that we did the
Oh, so that was you.
putting your voice. Yeah, I did that. My game's just.
I was driving and I almost. I'm not gonna say I almost got in a car crash, but I definitely like twerked my head when I heard that. I was like on the road and I was like, was that my voice that just said that? Like, that's random. And then I was like, oh yeah, we did like a little podcast where I screamed that into the microphone really loud.
Yeah, I gave you a heads up in the video. It's like I'm gonna use this.
I'm looking forward to your Sonic 3, assuming you're going to do that again. I'll be listening. I'm excited for that.
I got to think about it. I got to think about what comes in between and if we do another more Sonic impressions.
Yeah.
Alex has some cool ones lined up for a future video that is going up soon. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love your guys' channel, man. I love that you guys are consistent. You do it on every Monday for sure, and then we get a video. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I know you got a little shindig to run to, so I figure we could just wrap it up. Any dire talking points, comments, questions?
Oh, I should have come with a cool question to ask at the end. But I'm sure we'll get some cool comments that have good questions in it.
That's a good idea. So, guys, if you're listening, drop us a question. Try and make it come up on the next Majora T-cast. Oh, you know what? Maybe which moniker do you prefer? Majora T or your sworn brother?
Well, being that I've known you for so long, Majora T is what I personally connect as. You, that or Teddy. But your sworn brother is your new kind of thing, right?
I changed it back.
Oh. Majora T then.
Thank you.
That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, I figure most people were, and something came up at work where like the kid saw my YouTube handle, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So it was fortunate that I changed it in the first place, so I just changed it back.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it's what it is. It's good to be back on YouTube. I haven't really like been posting anything on this main channel. I think the button mappers has been good for me.
It's been good for me too.
Yeah, we enjoyed having you on. I enjoyed having you on here too. We should definitely do another podcast together.
Yeah, I love talking with you guys, especially. Well, I've never really done much with just Alex. I think we've done a couple videos with Alex, just me and him. Not as much as you though. We've actually like reviewed games and stuff.
Yeah, we did one each on each of our channels. Like we did the Dragon Quest VII, and then we did something else. I can't remember.
Yes, we did something else. Yeah.
The hell was it?
Sure. We did something.
It was something. It exists.
It exists somewhere. Yeah. Well, all right, man.
Cool. All right, Spence. Great having you on. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Take it easy, everybody.
And guys, subscribe to the Itch Network if you haven't already.